Person one loves person two. Guess what? Shenanigans ensue. Person one hates person two. Guess what? Still shenanigans ensue. Person one fake dates person two. Guess what? You guessed it. Shenanigans ensue. Co-host one reports to co-host two. The name of the show? Shenanigans ensue. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Shenanigans Ensue.
A podcast where... What's going on with you and Jack?
Nothing's going on. We just kissed and now we want to spend all our time together.
Okay.
You say so.
All right. Well,
each episode we'll watch a rom-com and discuss its merits as a member of the rom-com genre.
we'll cover well-worn classics, hidden gems, and everything in between.
We'll give you our unsolicited opinion on every trope, caper, and flim-flam the film used, or maybe abused.
And of course, the
shenanigans. Shenanigans.
Yeah. This is our 50th episode.
Ah! I don't know what to say. That's
Cool.
It's really cool.
Look at us.
Yeah, we're doing the thing. I don't know.
And it's our Halloween episode.
Yes.
Ooh.
And we've just celebrated 2 years of shenanigans, 2 years of the podcast.
I know. Crazy.
I'm very proud and very excited.
Yes.
And we've got lots of awesome stuff planned ahead.
Uh-huh.
So we're far from finished.
I'm well chuffed with us.
Nice. Good use.
It's my favorite word to use whenever I can actually find a place to use it. And this is the perfect use case.
I had no idea chuffed was a South Africanism until you pointed it out.
I think it's just like a Commonwealthism.
Fair.
I've seen it in like British shows too.
Oh, that is true.
But we don't use it in America. And it is a great word.
It's so... I don't know. It feels how it sounds.
Yeah.
So it's like an onomatopoeia kind of thing.
Yeah, it fills me with fuzzy pride every time.
Exactly.
And for this really chuffed 50th episode.
No.
I know, that was the absolute inappropriate use.
Terrible.
I know.
For this Halloween episode, we really chuffed to be doing early 2000s rom-com.
Based off of a classic 1960s sitcom. Bewitched! Yay! What a fun little surprise. I didn't even know they made a Bewitched movie.
I've heard of the movie. I just wasn't familiar with the series.
Yeah, it was for anybody who used to watch Nickelodeon as a kid and is maybe a millennial. Bewitched was one of the shows that often played on Nick at Night, the adult programming.
So hilarious.
And by adult, it was just like 50s, 60s, and 70s shows for some reason. Still very wholesome.
An adult version of Nickelodeon. It's very funny to me.
So I do remember watching episodes of Bewitched late at night.
Oh,
and Jane, you had a good reference point.
Oh, yes. When Jasmine was explaining the concept of Bewitched to me, it started to sound really familiar. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's from WandaVision. That's one of the shows that WandaVision was paying homage to.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And they kind of nailed it in WandaVision too, so I'm glad that that was a good point of reference.
Yeah, and the way you explained it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so familiar. Right down to the nose wrinkle and everything. And I was like, did I watch the show and forgot? No, it can't be. I would have remembered the premise of the show.
Yeah, totally nailed it in that homage. And they did a really fun thing, which I guess going in, I was expecting a
adaptation?
Yeah, a movie adaptation of a series. I didn't know how they were going to square the circle. And then I read a very quick synopsis before we jumped into watching, which was really just a failing TV star tries to reboot his career with the reboot of this classic show featuring an unknown actress who actually can do magic.
The concept is so much fun.
The irony.
Yeah. Well, referencing the original show as well.
Yeah.
But in a way that, as someone who hasn't seen the show, I still enjoyed and followed along with the plot. Like, it was really well done.
Yeah. So now that you know a little bit about what we're jumping into, shall we hit that plot synopsis?
Yeah. I mean, you basically gave it.
I did. Okay, well, now the official one. That was the synopsis that they gave for the movie, essentially.
I see.
And now we've got the Jane original synopsis. Isabel is a witch who has decided to stop using her powers in order to lead a normal life.
She meets Jack, a hopeless actor who wants Isabel to star in his revival of the beloved sitcom Bewitched.
Shenanigans ensue. Yay!
There are so many shenanigans in this film.
I mean, they can literally do magic and they don't have to pretend it's silly life magic.
It's not plot magic.
They just lean all the way in.
It's just magic.
Yeah, there's no weather magic, there's no other magic, there's just regular magic.
I've never had a list of shenanigans so long, like we won't be able to get to everything.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But just like in preparing for the episode, it's so long because there's just so much.
I mean, we'll have to just lump in and spitfire a magic shenanigans section or something for this one.
But before we get to the shenanigans, let's hit those tropes.
Yeah, we have a meet cute, hidden identity. We've got misunderstandings.
So many.
We have overhearing something. We've got best friends. And it's Kristen Chenoweth. I love her so much. Yes.
And Heather Burns.
I know, and Heather Burns.
I love them both.
So good. We have a meddling family. Got so many montages.
Mm-hmm.
We have music doing the absolute most.
The most.
And finally, the witchiest dramatic chase ever. Yay!
Shall we dive into where we're probably itching to go, which is montages / music doing the most?
Because they live in tandem
Yes,
in this film.
They do.
Okay, just to start us off strong, giving us the magical house rental opening montage was just so delightful.
So lovely. And then to put the button on it when she's finally gotten the house, and then the real estate agent is like, oh, you don't have references? I'm sorry, I can't rent you this property without references. And she does one more little banner on the side.
Literally.
That says no references.
It's so funny. Every time she has to do one more little magic fix, it tickles me so. She's like, this is the last one. This is the last one.
She's trying to go cold turkey on magic. It's not working out.
Also, girl, don't do that. Use your magic. If you've got it, flaunt it.
Exactly. Own your powers.
So that one was absolutely delightful and really sets us up for what we're about to jump into.
So good.
The casting montage.
Oh my word.
And the nose
that
wiggle.
Was so good.
All of these terrible acting scenes.
Yeah, doing weird nose things.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to post on stories like us trying to do the nose wriggle.
Oh my gosh. That would be fun. I could not, but I'll do my best.
I tried to do it now and I think I'm just rolling my mouth around. Then we have Isabel being so delighted to be trying to figure out how to do things as a normal human without her magic. The novelty wears off quickly.
So good. And then moving through the film, we've got the things between the two leads is getting a little romantic studio witching hour montage.
Beautiful.
That was really fun. Them running around the studio being adorable together.
That was so cute. And that's when music is doing the most because it's going, because it's witchcraft, strictly taboo. You witch, that stuff you pitch hasn't got a cure. I'm bewitched by you.
Get out. So funny. And then I have two more montages. There's the Halloween sad song montage.
Oh my word. Where the music is...
Is that when they started playing Everybody
Hurts Sometimes?
Too much.
Stop. Get out of here.
You guys. And then just to round us off on this insane journey of montages, we have at the end of the film the slow-mo everything you just already watched
Oh my word.
montage.
All that was missing was a soft focus.
Soft focus.
Honestly.
And honestly, they should have done it because it was a memory. It was his realization of how much he
Yes.
loves her, even if she is magical, because he somehow made that a big deal in his head. I don't understand that. If someone could do actual magic, you're my best friend now. We don't pay for shit ever again. I don't get it.
One of the other montages I have is them doing the show together as a team, finally.
Yay.
And you have the pitter-patter between the two of them. Very cute. And one more little bit of music doing the most is after Jack's wife signs the divorce papers. He's like, party at my place, we celebrating. And opening on the party, ding dong, the witch is dead.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that was what it was.
Stop.
That's so funny.
So good. Is there another trip you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the meet cute.
Adorable.
That was so fun. All I wrote in my notes was all caps bookstore. So delightful.
Because all that Jack sees of her is her nose wrinkling as she's trying to find a book.
Yeah, to like set the scene, he's literally just finished the miserable audition process where he could not find the leading lady to play opposite him. And he's in the bookstore looking around, and she is as well. And he catches her through the books. And what was she looking at?
I think she was looking at a book about how to get a job or something.
That's so cute, which is perfect, of course. This movie is very on the nose with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And as she's looking, you know, there's maybe a little bit of dust has been kicked into the air. And so she's like, oh no, I'm going to sneeze. Am I going to sneeze? And she wiggles her nose and he catches her perfectly framed in the gap between books.
Yes.
And then wiggles her nose again before she sneezes and he loses his mind. It's the funniest thing.
She's the one. And then he full on creeper mode activated with him being a famous actor.
Oh God, yeah.
Also hilarious because he follows her all the way to a coffee shop.
Yep.
And he's like, are you an actor? You must be in my television show.
And before that, like, the waitress comes over. Someone comes
Yes.
over and is like, this guy is following you. He's a famous actor and he won't stop staring. Oh my God, lucky. So funny.
And then him trying to convince her to do the show because she's like, oh, well, I do need a job. And he's explaining about, like, you know, when you move up the ranks as an actor, one day you just snap your fingers and you get whatever you want. And Isabel is like, oh, no. I have that already. I'm trying to give it up. But, like, please.
Her running away constantly from her powers really is delightful in this.
But she just can't quite quit them.
Oh my gosh. There another one that you want to hit?
I want to talk about the meddling family, in particular the dad.
Yes.
So funny.
I want to do the dad and the aunt.
Yes, both of them are so messy. The dad is played by Michael Caine, who's just Michael Caining.
Yes, he is.
And the first instance is Isabel's in Bed Bath & Beyond, and she's walking past the aisles and it says, soap, towels, blah-de-blah, your
Dad.
father.
Yeah.
And then he just steps on it.
With an arrow pointing straight down.
Yes.
So funny.
Stop. And one of the other things he does is when she's doing grocery shopping and he appears on like different items of produce talking to her.
Right.
So I think it was like some canned vegetables and popcorn and cereal.
He was the Jolly Green Giant for a moment.
Yes.
And the Paul Newman popcorn guy. And then he was stocking shelves.
Then he's also like a Casanova type because he's trying to seduce women left, right, and center.
Oh gosh, he's the worst.
Totally.
But then he gets Uno reversed by the other actual witch who's playing Iris in the TV show, which was so good.
Yeah, he definitely got his comeuppance.
Yeah, as Iris manages to bewitch every woman that he goes to approach into telling him painful, awkward truths about themselves to turn him off.
I think one was like, I have an STI. The other one was, I will go home with you because I have issues with my father. Like, it was just a whole bunch of things.
Just red flag central.
Mm-hmm. And then the aunt who comes down the chimney. Oh, you said you wanted to talk about the aunt.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure we talk about her.
Oh. Then the aunt who comes down the freaking chimney is like, we should put a hex on him.
And then they make an accidental love potion?
Yes.
They really bungled that.
Yeah.
What was the thing? Wolfsbane that they weren't sure they put in?
Yes, they just added a bit too much or something.
Yeah, you guys, they must have done a double dose of Wolfsbane. So if you're trying to make some witchy magic, I guess Wolfsbane makes people love you. That's what I learned from this documentary.
Yeah, that's my takeaway. Just be super careful.
I can't. That was so funny.
This recipe book. They were trying to get him to be nicer to her, and it just overshot by about 100.
By a bajillion.
Because he wasn't just in love with her, he was obsessed with her.
Yeah. It was too much. It was awkward. Everyone was uncomfortable.
And relieved a little bit when he didn't react poorly to his test scores.
Oh yeah, that part was so funny.
He was too happy for Isabel, so he isn't bothered at all.
Oh my gosh. And I know that when they do the little switcheroo and the repeat of all those scenes, it's just funny to see that they
the contrast
didn't need to do this in the first place.
Yeah. Is there another trip you want to hit?
Oh, just briefly. When Jack gets his house back and things are kind of going back in his favor in his life, and they're at the party, the continuous misunderstanding. She's showing him magic over and over and over again for him to very purposefully ignore it or wave it away was just so funny.
He just is super impressed because he thinks she's doing sleight of hand.
Yeah.
That's the best he's ever seen.
Just dumb. This is not sleight of hand, my guy. She is showing you actual magic. What is it going to take for you to take her seriously?
She had to make her broomstick take him for a ride.
Yeah.
That's what
it took.
That's what convinced him in the end.
And then it freaked
So
him out.
funny.
Like, it freaked him out so bad
that he ran away.
that he ran for the hills for no reason.
He tried to shoot her with a stick.
Those are the big ones I want to hit. Because then
Yeah.
everything else is like straight up shenanigans.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just move on to the genetic
Genetic
girls.
Girls.
Wow, where do you even start?
I'm looking at my list and I feel so overwhelmed.
If I was going to start anywhere, I would start with asking the question, why is she so obsessed with Cool Whip? It is.
And then the pairing of Cool Whip with popcorn.
I don't understand. So, like, she literally is in the grocery store when she runs into her father over and over again doing some regular grocery shopping, but her cart has approximately 8 tubs of Cool Whip.
That's too much Cool Whip. I mean, for me personally, any Cool Whip is too much Cool Whip.
And also, there's so many colors of tub. There's at least 3 colors,
Yeah.
which indicates to me that there's variations on the Cool Whip, which I didn't know was a thing.
I think I'm familiar with the strawberry flavor, but not beyond that.
There's flavors. I have no idea. I just thought there was blue regular ass Cool Whip. That's crazy. And then later on, when she's in bed eating popcorn, she has a tub of Cool Whip with her, which I just wrote on my notes, Cool Whip and popcorn is heinous.
Why?
Why? I wrote Cool Whip to Jane so many times. Every time I saw it, I was like, why?
She was maybe going for the sweet, salty combination. I don't know.
No, absolutely not. You put M&Ms in your popcorn like a normal person.
That is an elite combination.
I'm looking this up really quick. Okay, so this doesn't even fit. Maybe it does. Maybe this was introduced by the end of the TV show, but the TV show started in 1964, and Cool Whip was invented in 1966. So I wonder if maybe it was like the hot new thing.
Maybe it was like some product placement in the original series?
Right? Like, I don't remember it in the original series, but perhaps it was a thing that became important. What a weird thing to do. I want to know the significance of it. Or if they just...
You on a Cool Whip quest.
Right? It's quintessentially American.
It is very American, I will say that.
So she was like, I just want to be a regular person. So she just like only bought Cool Whip and Craft singles.
One of the instances of her trying to break her magic habit is when she's at the diner with her dad and she's like, I'm done, Daddy, I'm done with magic. And she tries to order breakfast and the waitress is like, no, sorry, we don't serve breakfast after 11.
Yeah.
And she clicks her fingers and clock goes.
Yeah, she rolls it back like 15 minutes.
She's like, that's the last time, I swear.
She says that so many times.
You know, if I had magic, I would definitely be using it to be able to order breakfast any time of day.
Right? Truly, though. There was so much silly magic. I feel like we have to discuss the insanity of the rewinds.
My goodness.
Riddle me this. Why would you bring up a rewind after half of the movie has already passed and introduce it as a tremendous thing to fix the mistake of the hex that you've already done, implying that this is some really elite magic that she's pulled out to save herself and thrust us into the third act of the film? Then to just use the rewind again with absolute abandon.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't actually matter that much.
Just so casually.
If she does this all the time, then why was it such a big deal for her to find it?
Yeah, because it really diminishes the stakes for me then.
It did. It really did.
Nothing really matters because it can just be redone.
Yeah, and believe me, I was really thrilled when she dropped a light on Jack's wife and absolutely crushed her in the sound studio and then did a rewind. I thought that was hilarious.
She's like, too much, too much.
But you can't just throw that around casually. But like the whole entire thing was so funny because we've set up that this hex is way over the top. He's too in love with her. It's ruining everything. She does a full-on rewind and rewinds like 2 days of her life.
Yeah.
Just to find out that if she had just let it be in the first place, it would have been fine to begin with.
Maybe there's a lesson in that as well. I don't know.
Right? So funny.
So a shenanigan that leads up to even more magic shenanigans is when she's with her 2 friends and she's so angry, she's so pissed off, and one of them says you have 3 choices. You can put up with it, you can quit, or you can get mad. Cut to massive storm clouds, lightning, dramatic music, marching at a pace. And one of the friends is like, she chose mad, right?
Right. She's not only marching at a pace, she's magicifying everything around her. She's throwing the doors open. She's starting a giant fan. That whole sequence was so delightful to me. The fact that he thought that he was going to get away with diminishing her role to nothing, which was insane to begin with. Taking away all of her lines, and this is the lead of the show.
It was wild that they thought she wouldn't notice.
I mean, she didn't, though.
That's true. That's also true. She didn't notice. But that they could sustain it for so long. Like, if it's the first day, maybe, you know?
She would have kept not noticing if they didn't literally say it within earshot of her. So dumb.
Spell out the whole plan on this open set where everyone can hear everything.
And then watching her magicify everything on the set to go against him and make him look like an idiot, to make him do that line over and over.
In different ways.
In different bad ways.
Yeah. Like Shakespeareifying.
Oh my gosh.
Because I think the line is just like, give me the dog back or give me my dog back.
And then the telenovela.
Yes. And then with like all these accents. It's so funny.
So good.
Oh, and then the layered shenanigans, because in the show, her character is supposed to be doing magic to make sure that the dog goes to Jack's character and not the girlfriend's character.
Yes, I love this part.
Which already is a shenanigan, but then the subtextual shenanigans is that Isabel is doing magic to make the dog come to her. so she can say a line.
It's so funny. And not even so she can say a line. She's just messing with them. The line comes from the woman in production.
Oh, yes, it comes from Heather Burns' character. When she's like,
Yeah.
if the dog comes to you again, say this.
And so she literally is messing with the dog just to mess with him because he was being such a jerk to her. And this is a very adorable, smaller dog.
It's cute.
So the dog jumps onto the table and then jumps into her arms. And she says the line, "Thank goodness it wasn't a Great Dane." Just so good.
Do you have something?
I didn't write down enough of the details, but I think this is while the hex is still in effect. But the entire date sequence that they go on is absolutely unhinged. I did not write enough of it down, but it was just everybody, especially Will Ferrell, at 100.
Yeah. He wrote a song for her, which is atrocious, and serenaded her off key without rhyme.
And I just love, we have, Will Ferrell doing one of his more grounded versions of himself for a hot second, like the over-the-top actor, but a bit more grounded than some of his other characters.
Which is so wild to say.
I know. And then during the hex sequence, he ratchets it all the way to an elf, and it's just so funny.
What was noteworthy as well in that wild date sequence is that even within the way he was behaving because of the hex, there were still things that they had in common, and you can see them connecting.
Yeah.
And you're like, if the hex wasn't there and they actually had time to spend together, like they actually have quite a few things in common.
Yeah, because the way he's staring at you right now, I'm worried that he's going to chop you into a million pieces and bury you somewhere.
Peel your skin off and try to wear it like a suit. Because I was like, how are you finding this charming, and how are you falling for this and forgetting that he's under a hex? Because I am so uncomfortable by the way he's behaving. Maybe that says more about me.
Oh, I mean, it also says a lot about her.
I was like, I hate this.
It says a lot about the cultural norms of witches and warlocks, where she comes from, I think. There's a lot of talk about that. The fact that the dad makes references to using the magic to mess with each other in that world, and that warlocks are so full of themselves, or whatever she says during the movie. That's really funny.
Some other little misunderstanding things, like almost throwaway but so funny to me, is when she's setting up the house and the cable guy comes and he's like, I'm here to give you cable. And she's like, I already have cable. Thank you. Bye. Like holding cables. And the other one is when Jack brings her in to meet with the producer and the director and stuff. And they're like, okay, just read the script. And she's reading it to herself silently.
Right.
And they're all looking at each other like, what? No, read it out loud.
And then when she does read it out loud, she starts with the stage directions.
Yes. Interior day.
So dumb. You guys, you hired somebody who doesn't know anything.
She's not trained.
You have to teach her from the beginning.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Jack specifically said he wanted an unknown.
Right.
So that his star could shine or whatever.
That's more than an unknown.
Yeah.
Far and beyond.
It's just a random woman you found in a bookshop. You have to tell her something.
And this film was just filled with, like, so many good one-liners.
Absolutely.
Isabel doesn't want to be an actor at the beginning. Jack tries to convince her. And she says to him, I think the fact that you're a hopeless mess is very refreshing. The dad tells her about coming into the human world. You turned your back on your kind and now you live down the street from a Denny's. So many funny one-liners.
Yeah.
At some point, Kristen Chenoweth says something about having sex on an elliptical.
Yes.
I was like, girl, how?
Walk us through that. Give us a diagram.
There are no surfaces large enough. What?
Maybe it's as support while standing. Let's not get too much into the weeds with
I know.
But it was like after her divorce.
So good.
She wanted to get revenge, but then she ended up having sex on her elliptical.
Right, that's what it was. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. And when Jack is being a total ass and Heather Burns says, I think we should taser him and throw him into the shark tank at SeaWorld.
It's so specific.
Yep.
So specifically dark.
I know. I love it.
When Isabel is in Bed Bath & Beyond, a couple is walking past and she's like, they're arguing about paint. I want to argue about paint. She wants to be normal.
She just wants normal things, like arguing about paint.
And Jack tells her being an actor is better than being normal. You get to pretend to be normal.
That one hits too close to home.
You get to pretend to be like emotionally stable. What a relief.
Yeah, it's pretend, Jane. Pretending.
What would that be like?
Lots of visual gags as well. Like the Cool Whip gag was one of them. And also, why is everyone drinking so many martinis?
I didn't notice until you pointed it out. And then when I started watching for it, I was like, you're right. There is a disproportionate amount of martinis, and there's been no mention of why that could be.
And also just martinis of varying color. Like, these are not regular drinks.
Maybe he just loves martini glasses? I don't know.
Yeah, this is like purple and blue martinis. I was like, who's putting blue curacao in a martini? Heinous. Ugh.
Oh, just before we've really been let on to the fact that she doesn't have any lines.
Oh, right.
Jack is just like walking down the street and he bumps into her and he falls down and they're like, cut!
And everyone starts clapping.
Yes!
That's what I was going to say next.
The whole entourage just comes and like starts applauding and surrounding him and like giving him accolades for doing nothing.
Yep. I wrote 2 seconds of filming.
Yes.
And then clap. Ew. He didn't do anything. In fact, he fell way too big.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad.
There was no nuance at all.
So funny.
Which is why it's so funny to me that when he's doing all these bad variations, the director is like, Jack, can we take it down a notch or like 5? He's been at 1,000 already in any case.
Right?
Now he's just not doing what's in the script.
So funny.
Oh, one more thing I want to talk about, and then I think I'm done, is Iris.
Yeah, she deserves a big shout out.
Scene stealer, both in the movie and then...
The show in the movie.
Yes, the show in the movie.
When they intro her in the first place,
yes.
Not even the soundstage, like before they start filming.
The press.
She comes out so big.
Yeah.
Shirley MacLaine, you absolute icon.
Legend. Because Jack has introduced Isabel. She comes out and doesn't say anything, just stands there. Then he introduces Iris and she doesn't come out. And he goes looking for her on the one side of the stage. And she enters stage left. Like, yes, my audience.
Oh my gosh, she's so good. And then, like, the way she chews the scenery as she enters in a puff of smoke for the actual stage recording, the audience starts clapping, as a live studio audience ought to. And she, instead of continuing with the scene, you know, perhaps milking her intro in a normal fashion, she stops, addresses the audience, waves, and blows kisses to them. Like, we can't use any of this footage, girl.
Yes. And then the director comes and he's like, could you not mug for the audience or whatever? And she just says something to the effect of like, just go sit in your little chair.
Yes, she does. She sets him up.
And then on the second take, she comes in even harder.
Like, truly.
She fully ignored that note.
And they all are in Video Village, just rubbing their temples, trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do with the takes.
So funny.
There was a lot of fun going on with this film. But, yeah, I think that we should talk about Uncle Arthur, but I think in the context of our fun fab fail.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I'm ready to jump into it if you are.
I'm ready.
A fun fab fail. So this movie, despite all of this funniness, is kind of just a super soft fun.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because such great performances from both Will Ferrell and Nicole Kidman, and then the supporting cast
is insane.
So many talented actors. Every time it's like, oh, this talented comedic actor, this
Yeah.
talented comedic actor. You know, so many surprises.
And just so people kind of have an idea, let me just pull up some of it. Yeah, we've got Steve Carell, we've got Jason Schwartzman, Stephen Colbert shows up at some point, Richard Kind, Amy Sedaris. Oh, David Allen Greer. So many people. This is an absolutely stacked cast. And then in addition to that, we have cameos of people doing their actual shows, interviewing the fake actors like James Lipton and Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
This film is absolutely stacked. And yet, somehow, they started so strong and then really bungled the pacing for the last 30 to 45 minutes.
And a lot of that, like what really left me with it being a soft fun, is those last 20 minutes where out of nowhere we introduce Uncle Arthur without any explanation. And it was so weird. Nothing against Steve Carell. I love Steve Carell. But it was like character-y.
Yeah.
Steve Carell, like very strong choice. If we had this character introduced earlier in the movie, it wouldn't feel so jarring, I don't think. But it just didn't fit.
Yeah, they only introduced the character of Uncle Arthur as a description of the original show.
Yeah.
And so it just doesn't fit.
And he appears in Jack's mirror, and he's like, I know you're going to break the glass. I know you're going to break the glass. They just wave it off as being like, well, you fell in love with a witch. Weird stuff is bound to happen.
Yeah.
It was bizarre.
For me, you're right, too, from earlier. You said overusing the rewind took the wind out of the sails of things. And that kind of is what happened. It like set the scene that after we did a rewind, we threw away the entire hex scenes and made it pointless.
Yeah.
You took the wind out of the film, and then we're playing catch up now. It kind of didn't gain momentum back, but it wasn't super obvious until, like you said, Uncle Arthur shows up.
Yeah.
And it's pointless. Like, he does a Deus Ex Machina. He lies about the rush to go get her. The dramatic chase happens while she's on broomstick.
Yeah.
It all ends up being kind of pointless.
Yeah, it loses the emotional weight.
Yeah.
Having Uncle Arthur be the one that makes Jack realize by saying, oh, well, you're in love with a witch. It would have been more powerful if Jack had come to that on his own, whether it's prompted through a scene shown on TV from the original programming or whatever. But it takes away Jack's agency as a character too. I don't know, is it like a fever dream? Is it a reimagination? Like, what is Uncle Arthur? So you as an audience member are also left trying to puzzle this out, and so you're not following along really with this change of heart.
Yeah, the context behind it is they kind of make it sound like he's Uncle Arthur from the original show.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense in the plot.
No, it doesn't.
It really was so strong, and the last 30 minutes kind of tanked it.
Yeah. It started off so well. I was so excited. That opening sequence was so cheeky and so clever.
That opening sequence was perfection.
And then all these other actors keep popping up and they're just playing on the same team. Like, stuff is going, it's riffing. So much fun. Such great jokes.
Yeah.
Visual gags, physical comedy.
And then we lost the plot.
Yeah.
Bummer. Still a soft fun.
Still, yeah.
But I can see why no one ever heard of this.
Well, I think that was our longest explanation ever for fun.
Warranted. We had to.
We had to.
Explanations necessary because we just talked mad game about this movie being hilarious.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, it's soft fun.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just like Uncle Arthur did in the film.
Uncle Arthur is so confusing.
Yeah, because when we introducing it and Jack is going on about how much he loves this character and whatever, so he has been mentioned. So it was just so weird to set him up having this connection to Uncle Arthur and then having him manifest it somehow magically and not explaining it.
Just odd.
Yeah, anyway, you can move on to our favorite section.
Give me the cheese, please. I love cheese.
Me too.
All right. One of the harder cheeses to come up with.
Good grief. It actually gave me a headache.
really thought through exactly why I've chosen what I've chosen. So
It's vibes.
Yeah, vibes. We're just gonna muddle our way through it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. 3, 2,
2, 1.
1.
Surprise
Improvised
smoked picante
potatoes gratin.
provolone.
Yep.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yep. Okay, wait. What?
I think it was the idea of you.
Yeah, I don't know who's next.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Mm.
All out of order. I'll go. I'll just see what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Go along for the ride.
So I've chosen improvised potatoes gratin.
Fantastic.
So the reasoning behind that is because everybody loves a potatoes gratin. But imagine you tried to make one because you were just looking in the fridge and you're like, I guess I have all the ingredients here.
We'll just start and see where we end up.
Exactly. And you don't even bother to look up the instructions. You just are like, yeah, I'm going to scallop the potatoes. I'm going to throw them in a little thing. I'm going to add delicious stuff. And that's what it is, right? I'll put it in the oven. I'll let it cook. And we'll see what happens. I think ultimately what we've learned is that you do need structure.
Yes.
So I love the absolute solid foundation of the potatoes, aka the solid foundation of this beloved 1960s sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a little bit of sweetness, the cream that you would use or whatever roux you're using in your gratin. It's a little bit gooey. It's a little bit messy, like Will Ferrell can sometimes be in his things, but ultimately very satisfying. The problem is that you didn't actually look anything up.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we didn't consider the last 30 minutes of structure in this film. We just thought all these ingredients we love, throwing them in a pot, cooking it would be enough. And it's just missing something. It's not bitey enough, or maybe you just didn't add enough of the right seasoning, or maybe you just had it at the wrong temperature to cook. Like, something's not quite right.
Maybe you didn't salt your potatoes.
Yeah, there's something going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so while it's still good, like it's something you still want to eat, it's not as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
And that's a bit disappointing because we have cheesy potatoes in front of us and we're not thrilled. And that's a bit of a bummer. So therefore, this for me was an improvised potatoes gratin.
Sometimes you just need the specificity of a word to change how it feels.
Yeah.
So I have surprise smoked picante provolone, and I'm going to talk about the picante provolone first.
I love that it surprised you.
The surprise smoked.
Yeah. It was just like, I'm here for provolone. Oh, it's smoked.
Why? You know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
So the picante provolone, it has a much more potent, sharper, saltier, beefier taste than like the dolce. And like this movie is ratcheted way up.
Oh,
so intense.
yeah.
Like so much. Not just Will Ferrell, like everyone.
Yes.
And picante is usually a table cheese, so it's eaten at room temperature, but its flavor intensifies when you melt it. So with the Hex, it like basically melted Jack's brain, and so he intensified.
Yeah. Will Ferrell actually has a meltdown a couple times in the movie, too.
Yes. He fully breaks. So I'm imagining, you having your wine, you have your nuts, like you out on a veranda, and you having some provolone that's being put out, and you get to the back end of it, and suddenly there's smoked pieces of provolone, and you're like, why? Why is this happening? If you know me well, I have strong feelings about smoked cheese.
Oh.
I'm not opposed to smoked things in general. I think it can really enhance the flavor. But there's something about that smoky flavor paired with the texture of cheese that kind of fuses my palate. Maybe I have an unrefined palate.
No, I don't think so. But if you associate it with a particular food, like if I associate smokiness with bacon, then I expect a certain texture.
Not just bacon specifically, because I don't mind if you add smoke flavoring to vegetables, whatever. I think there's something about cheese and smokiness that just doesn't align for me, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I must eat more smoked cheese. just to see what it is that is causing this upset, because I'm upset that I was enjoying a perfectly delightful provolone that's doing what it's supposed to do, and then I have smoked provolone at the back. All right, I'm done. I'm calm. No offense to anyone who likes smoked cheese.
But maybe a little offense.
Maybe a little, maybe a tad.
That's so funny. I think I like smoked cheese. I don't know that I've had one in a long time, though. But yeah, no, I hear you.
It's just a vehicle to describe how I felt about this movie.
Yeah.
Feel free to use your own metaphor or a surprise for something that you don't care for as much.
All valid. So funny. Well, everyone, there you have it. That was our discussion of Bewitched.
Let us know your thoughts on the movie, any shenanigans we may have missed, or what cheese you think it is.
You can follow us on Instagram at shenanigansensuepod, or you can email us at shenanigansensuepod@gmail.com.
We hope you'll join us next time, and until then, something magical happened all on its own. Bye.
Bye.
Think what would be good for the ending is some of the chuffed stuff, because we did that for quite a long.
Nope, I'm leaving all of it.
Do you want to put some of it at the back?
Nope.
Okay. We went on about chuffed for so long.
This episode recording has been short enough that I'm leaving it all.
Okay, you'll find something else to put in here then.
Oh, I'm putting this.
Very meta.
A glimpse behind the curtain.